if you weren't aware of what happened yesterday at TwitchCon, um, with that streamer getting assaulted, it just goes to show you. We were discussing this during last night's stream, right? And so the biggest thing is that she is obviously a bigger streamer, and she has enough of a budget to cover her own personal security. So she had her own security guards there in line, right? And if you watch the footage, Twitch security didn't do shit. Her security guards, the moment that that guy grabbed her and like started assaulting her, her security guards stepped in and like smacked the guy down, and then he managed to run off. And the only reason, from what is being spoken about right now, the only reason that he was even arrested in the first place was because her manager pressed Twitch and was like, "You need to do something about this. Like that's not acceptable." And so this led to Chris watching the footage last night, and this is a great conversation. So I am not a big streamer, right? I'm obviously not big enough to, pay my own bodyguards, right? Like I'm not at that level. But for those of you who are here every single day on the streams, we have our own. I have my own stalkers who are obsessed with me in a bad way. And we have had people who have come after Chris because she's Mexican, and there's a bunch of racism and there are a bunch of issues when it comes to gamers who take video games way too seriously, and they attack other people for having different likes and things of that nature. And so Chris and I were having this really great discussion last night about how, because we used to do the public speaking circuit in the travel industry. And granted, it's been a while. The last time we did a gig was 2017. So it's been like 8 years since we've done an event. October of 2017 was the last event we did. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. It's been 8 years since we have done any public speaking. So we were pre-pandemic, pre-political climate that we're in 2025. But she and I used to go around the world and speak at these travel conferences and work with the tourism boards and everything else. We were at the top of that pack. And we were looking at that footage and we were discussing things last night. And basically what she said was, imagine if one of the haters that you have showed up at the event with a smuggled knife or some sort of chemical agent or something and managed to get in, and you're doing a speaking engagement and they throw something on stage at you, or you're doing a meet and greet and they come up pretending they're a fan, and then they like grab you and like smear something on your skin, or they stab you, or with all these people who have pew-pews these days, who can, especially in the US, if you're going to the US, with these events are held where people have concealed carry permits and all these people are armed and they could just show up to an event and pew-pew. Like, there is no way that a company could pay me enough in 2025 to attend an event. Like, we had this conversation last night, and she and I were like, I don't think there's enough money. Because at the minimum, I'm going to demand 2 full-time bodyguards that the event has to pay for. I want 2 full-time bodyguards that accompany me everywhere. No matter where I go, hotel, restaurant, event, I need 2 bodyguards with me the whole way. From the moment I step off the plane to the moment I get back on the plane, I want 2 full-time bodyguards. On top of which, like, if you're going to be doing any sort of meet and greet or anything like that, you're going to need to provide security for that event. You need to pay for my flights, my hotels, my food. You got to pay my day fee to get me out of the office in the first place. So you want me as a speaker at your event, you have to pay my fee. By the time you factor all that stuff in, a small guy like me is going to cost, like, to get me out of my office, I don't think I'd be willing to do it for less than 50 grand. Like, you would need to pay me $50,000 cash, plus provide all the security and everything else for me to think that it's worth the risk of leaving my house to go to an event where I could potentially be stabbed, shot, anthraxed, bombed, have a truck driven into me, like, because of all the psychopaths that show up at these events. And so it's starting to get like she made a very public statement yesterday about how she's never going to participate in TwitchCon ever again, and she's like been there for going there for 10 years, and she's a relatively big streamer, you know. She has her niche, but she's relatively well known. And she just, I mean, and good on her for like calling them out. And she made another post I saw this morning where she was calling out how there was Twitch representatives like partying last night as if nothing had happened and like celebrating in the culture of, and granted, you know, it's their conference, their company's doing good, of course they're gonna be out there celebrating, but it doesn't appear that anyone, you know, it doesn't appear that there were that many people taking it as seriously as she was. I mean, she was literally sexually assaulted, physically assaulted, live, on a live stream in front of thousands of people, more than that if you count all the live stream people, and like the Twitch security staff did nothing. Only her private bodyguards did anything, and even then the staff were like, let the guy get away. It should have been an immediate, on the ground, mace to the face, tie him up and wait for the cops to arrive situation, and they just let the guy wander off. Like, so when Chris and I were talking about this last night, because I've had a couple of invitations and I've turned them down because I don't like leaving my house anymore, but also because I don't move unless you pay me to move. Like, I've had companies reach out and be like, we'll pay for your airfare and we'll pay for your flights, you know, pay for your air for your hotels and your food. And it's like, that's not enough. I'm sorry. Like, if you want me to come to your event, I need to be compensated for the loss of stream revenue, the loss of my daily revenue from YouTube videos, the loss of sponsorships, and all this other stuff that I'm losing because I'm not in the office working. So you have to compensate me to make it worth my time to leave. And right now, what I have is essentially, you know, it's just, as of what happened yesterday, my price has gone up, and now I'm putting in my rider, I need 2 full-time bodyguards. Like, and I just don't think, I can tell you right now that 99% of events aren't going to be willing to do that. They're not going to be willing to pony up to pay for the bodyguards and everything else, put the risk of, you know, it's too much money to bring somebody in. And that's fine. I don't have a problem going anywhere. I also saw somebody chatting this morning. They were talking about how Shroud's still, you know, he's worth millions, right? But he still streams like 12 to 20 hours a day, but he never goes anywhere. And someone was saying, well, if I was Shroud, I wouldn't go anywhere either. The only place I would be going if I was Shroud would be to the golf course. And that's it. Like, I'm not going anywhere. When you have a high profile, and Emmy, as you know, she's a cosplayer girl. She's a young, attractive, mid-20s, I think. She's maybe late 20s. I don't know how old she is, but it's even worse for someone like her who, because of the way some of these psychopath gamer dudes are, where they think that they own these girls because they, you know, it's stalker fans, right? This happens to movie stars, it happens to rock stars, it happens to actors and everybody high profile. I am not high profile. I don't even have 100,000 followers across all my platforms. And I still have stalkers and psychopaths who are completely off their rocker. But as of what happened last night, yeah, I won't be leaving my house anytime soon. And I certainly won't be attending any events in the U.S. whatsoever. There's no way. There's not even enough money you could pay me to go attend an event in the U.S. because of just the climate right now and how, yeah, not going to happen. Like, I do not want to be unalived just for going somewhere to celebrate video games. That's ridiculous. Be safe out there, kids. And also, do better. Like, it's video games. What are you so upset about? Like, fuck you for liking Bethesda. Like, get out of here, man. Like, I don't know. It's a scary world we live in right now. Yeah, we're talking TwitchCon, Thandor. But yeah, they've been huffing too much Cheeto dust. But yeah, Chris and I, like I said, we probably talked about this for about 2 hours last night. After we finished watching the movie, We were just sitting because we were watching the footage and I was showing her what had happened and she was like, "Oh my God, like can you imagine like some of the haters that you have showing up with like," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Like I don't, and let alone forget about bringing Chris with me, like cuz she's Mexican. Like there's no way I would want to have her in there's no way I would take her to the US right now. With the way brown-skinned people are being just assaulted on a daily basis. So, and we've already had psychopaths come at me. Like we did this. We were talking about this last night in the video. Like last year, we had the psychopaths from Asmongold's community coming and attacking my wife for being Mexican and attacking me for being married to a Mexican. And I'm like, the vitriol and shit that gets said in chat when you have people who are allowed to take that to the next level and make it physical, and they think that they can get away with it because of the political climate, like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm very happy right where I'm at, in the comfort of my own home, living in a homestead, far away from all that psychotic rage and anger and behavior. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere these days unless the companies pay for bodyguards. There's no way. The risks are too high. Even just being a small streamer, a small content creator, the risks are too high for psychopaths showing up and being willing to just do stupid stuff and unalive you. And then there are people who will do it for the lulz or do it for the views. You know, they'll assault you and try to make themselves famous while they're live streaming it on Kick or Twitch or something. Nope. I ain't going nowhere. But also, like, did you notice that none of that stuff happened at Gamescom? Where is it happening? It's happening at TwitchCon, which is where? In the US, in Los Angeles, I think, is where it's taking place. And it's like that shit. I feel like that shit doesn't happen in Europe, at least not yet, because different laws and different, you know, the whole world's out of control. However, so who knows? It could get bad in Europe over the next few years as well. Transcend says, I don't blame you. That frankly would scare the crap out of me, and that's not even taking into account being trans. Right, like that's what I was saying. Like women, trans people, anybody who's open and out about their sexuality, you're all at a higher risk than I am as a single white. I'm not single. Sorry, sorry, honey, I'm not single. As a white male, I am at a lower risk than females or anybody who's out and proud. Like, but because I'm married to a Mexican, I am a target for those people, for those psychopath extremists as well, because I'm a traitor. I'm a race traitor. I'm a you know what I mean? Like, it's mind-boggling to think that we're in 2025 and we have that sort of stuff creeping back into the spotlight where we're celebrating that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a terrifying time. The con was in San Diego. Okay, I'm not sure where it's at actually, so I don't really pay attention to where the events are held. I just knew it was in California somewhere. Yeah. TwitchCon is in a bad place. And there was a lot of people before the event. There was a lot of female streamers, LGBTQ plus streamers, and even some black streamers I saw and some Mexican streamers who were saying, yeah, we're not going to the event because of safety concerns. And then as soon as TwitchCon launches, there's a sexual assault that happens live in front of everybody. And it's like those people were justified in not going and saying, I value my public safety and I value my life more than going to an event and, you know, rubbing shoulders with other streamers. So yeah. Scary shit, man.